Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. Somebody sent me this file. They're a little bit confused. When they trace it, this fills in. I can't get it to fill in. But they're converting it to a bitmap. It is already some sort of bitmap PNG. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Object, Group, and ungroup it. I must have already ungrouped it. We need that. That's a vector file. Now he also is he wants to change the font, so you could change it to, anything. Just go through that looks better than what he had. And for the one I'm doing it for, if you don't have a font you like, you could always go to DA fonts and search. You don't want too thin a font. I'm just looking through real quick. That looks better than what he had. So let's go with it right now. I'm just going to nudge it out of the way. Okay, my nudge factor, I'm going to set in. I'm pretty sure you need to set this at 0, 0. I'm pretty sure that's the way it comes through. I'm going to set my nudge factor on 2 inches. And I'm going to nudge this out of the way. Wow, this thing is huge. So let's make the nudge factor like 10 inches. And because this is a vector, we don't need to do anything to it. Now, this probably would engrave, but it's going to look not very good. So now what we're going to do, and there's all kinds of little bad spots. So we need to, see that bad part is in part of there. So what we need to do is just trace it. Outline trace clip art is what I use 99.9% of the time. And now we're going to move that over, but that bad spot came with it. And you really need to look, and for the one I'm doing this for, I would test this on a scrap piece of wood. I know he's a woodworker. I'm going to go to Object, Group, and ungroup it, and then just grab that bad part and look at it. The safest way to do this would be to maybe move this over and move this over. And maybe even safer than that would be to move this out of the way. Take this part and left click, right click. So if there is any garbage, we're going to take black. He is an engraver. And we're going to fill that in with black and move it over. Fill that in with black and move it over. And now you're almost guaranteed not to have any garbage, and that'll engrave pretty nicely. It traced pretty good. I would maybe clean it up a little bit. Maybe put some curvature to this part, or just kind of play with it. Everything else looks pretty good. I don't see really any bad spots. You could see what that looks like. Making straighter lines. Everything else looks pretty good. This might have a bad part right there. Take your shape tool and just delete that, and then grab both these and right click and turn it into a line, and that'll look a little bit better. And then you could always go back and curve it a little bit. You need to take all 3 of these and right click your mouse and turn it into a curve. And then at that time, you could give a little bit of a curve. Whatever you think looks good. Look at all your ends. That needs to be fixed. We can try just deleting it, and that worked. Look at all your ends, but that'll work. And then the same thing on this one. And then you could size it. I mean, this thing it's not that big. But then on this one, it's the same thing. It has some garbage on the inside. I wasn't going to do the second. And see how big the bounding box is? The bounding box is huge. Let's go to View and Wireframe. Yeah, it's just a box around it. Well, there's another box like right there. Oh, that's my yellow. So it's got a humongous bounding box. So let's go back. It doesn't matter. Go back to Enhance. And let's move this Jones. We got to go to Group and ungroup it, and let's nudge this Jones out of the way. And same thing, I would change that font to something else that looks better. I wouldn't particularly pick that. But then trace this, outline, trace, clip art, and move it out of the way. Let's move it out of the way twice. Matter of fact, let's move this with it and then move this back. Now, I can't really see if that garbage came with it, and it did. So we need to fix that. So let's take the Jones out of the way. And let's do this. Let's left click, right click, and there's the problems. So what we can do is take our shape tool. Well, we got to ungroup it. Whenever your shape tool doesn't work, it's because it's grouped together. You got to, of course, you got to pick it before you can ungroup it. And then you could either pick this part, or if you have the shape tool in your hand, just use the shape tool. So this needs to be fixed. I'm going to suggest you take this line and, so what I'm going to do is just delete all these, okay? Get rid of that. I'm going to put a node right here first. I double click the mouse. Now get rid of that node. Now take this node and right click and turn it into a line. See how I straighten it up? The top, same thing. You got a little jig right there. Just delete those nodes and see what happens. That looks pretty good. We're a little bit messed up on the corners. We could select these two nodes, right click your mouse, turn them into a line. Go take away that node. You want to take away any nodes in between the two. You got those two selected, right click, turn them into a line. And I would really add a node right here. Take away this node. Well, let's add a node right there. Take away this node, delete, delete, grab both those and right click and turn it into a line. Now you need to either line these up or just, you can select them both and go right here to align nodes vertically, and it'll put them at least on the same plane. But then you kind of need to watch, is this the same? So we're short. Think about when you're doing something like that. So just grab these two nodes with the shape tool, holding down start moving, hold down the control button, and it should snap right there if you have snap to guidelines on. So just kind of square it up. I really don't think that needs to be there because it's not going to do any good. And whenever you're having trouble selecting something like that, you can hold down the Alt key. Oh, didn't work in that case, but come off that must be grouped together. Okay, break the curve apart and get that object. I don't think that needs to be there. I think the bottom looks pretty good. This could use a little help. Just depending on how much work you want to put in it. That's not where the flip. So this, I could take my virtual segment delete key and just delete those lines. This is pretty instrumental to the whole thing. And for just a second, I'm going to select it all and I'm going to turn it into a hairline. And then I'm going to fix this right here. So we're going to take a 2-point line, holding down the control button so it's perfectly, and he also writes in, you need to start writing in hairline. And let's kind of put that in the middle of that item, okay? Take our shape tool and put it right in the middle. Now, what we're going to do is take another line, so when we work with the virtual segment delete key, it will not delete it. This side's better, so I'm going to take my virtual segment delete key and delete that side. Now, take this side. We can get rid of our line now. Get this side, go up to Object, break the curve apart, get this, go up to object. That should not, tell you what, let me select it all. That should not do that. That should not be a piece. And I don't understand the black double line here that I drew it to stop it from leaking. So we need to fix that. So what we can do now, I'm taking a little more time than I thought this needed. Break that apart, okay? Then take this line, and I might be going way too far. Break the curve apart, take this line, Control D and make a duplicate while holding down the control button, mirror it. See how much better that looks? Now, I mean, I would still work on the inside, you know, getting rid of some of these nodes. And, you know, it's depending on how big it is or, you know, it is a monogram type deal, so it doesn't have to be maybe perfect, but I would maybe add a node there and bring it down, turn those, right click and turn those into a line, get rid of that node, and then go up and align these horizontally. And then do the same thing all the way across and maybe bring in an indexing line. And we need, you know, we're a little bit long with our line now. And who says, I mean, who says what's perfect? Start moving and hold down the control button. Anyway, then when you're done, let's get rid of our indexing lines. Take your Smart Fill tool. We got a leak. Where is our leak? It might be right there. I didn't finish closing this. You could actually run that past, run this one past, take your virtual segment delete key and hope this is the leak. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle around it just in case. There we go. Nudge that over. Fill that in, nudge that over, and there you have it. And that really stands out how much better that is. And then of course you'd want to center, I might have moved the name around and or the text was a different side. And I don't like that font, but I'm not going to take everybody's time to get a better font. And you want it somewhat fancy because it's a, of course that's just my idea. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit, and thank you for watching.